these kind of materials, the machining aspects. You
Naresh
may.
Bhatnagar, you
Yes,
were talking.
I know actually.
Naresh Bhatnagar.
Yes, sir. Naresh Bhatnagar, sir.
But he works on medical, no? Biomedical related things. Sir.
Biomedical, these ballistic applications, all kind of things.
Actually,
Okay.
what was the current trend, sir? Everyone started in some different field, and from last 5-6 years, if you'll see, everyone started to work in medical side.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And he has got very good machines, sir. Means all the good machines in our department he is having actually.
Okay.
Recently, he has got laser and laser also, and 10 axis CNC he has got 10 axis.
We have worked with him. Some rapid prototyping components when he was designing, we used to fabricate from Kanpur polycarbonate.
So 10 axis CNC he is having, so they are making the bio implants, dental implants.
Okay.
So they have tied with Maulana Azad Dental College, and so he's doing good work actually.
Okay. 22 participants only till now. I think we'll start. They will let them join.
Okay, sir. Even if you we can wait for 2-3 minutes, whatever.
Yeah, 3 minutes we will wait till 9:35.
Yes,
we'll wait.
Yes, sir.
So we should give at least 15 minutes for discussion.
Yes, sir.
Because this is a new area, people might be interested. They might be having a lot of.
Yes, sir. And actually, I have made the PPT as per because we have developed 2 setups, and we have done so there had many issues they had come. So I will try to cover up those so that people, if they want to develop such kind of setups, so it would be helpful for them.
Okay.
Even they can later on contact me and I can help them, because sir, I have invested many times. I used to go to industry for testing and other things. So major time was during setup developments only.
That takes a lot of time. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, once you are there in the setup since beginning, you will be knowing ins and out of the setup, and you will only be the master. Even the manufacturer person may not be knowing so many things.
Yes, sir. And even in MTech also, we had developed that setup.
Same. Yeah.
Because Jain sir used to make the student to fabricate the setup and then do the experimental studies.
Yeah. GK Jain is that type of person. Every person has to do their setup fabrication.
Yes, sir.
No PhD is direct on any machine actually.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when did you pass in 2009?
2007, sir. October 2007.
7 you passed out.
October, yes, sir. Means I had 3 months extra. When normally it was the trend. VK Jain students used to take degree in August. True.
That time Manas Das is there. I think he should be there. Manas Das.
Manas sir, he is my good friend.
Manas Das,
Ravi Shankar sir, he was doing PhD, and then he's in Kharagpur. What is his name?
Ajay Siddhapara.
Ajay sir had joined. He was doing his coursework actually.
That time, okay.
But he was very good in designing. 3D designing, he was very good.
Very nice.
Got one project, so he had developed all the machines in 3D. In my project also, he has helped me for design.
Now he became a very big person in Kharagpur.
Yes, sir. Isn't it? Because I have not contacted him since long.
No, he got a lot of projects recently.
Okay. Yeah.
Big setup he made actually in Kharagpur.
Okay. Last time in Bombay, Copen, we made.
Okay. I think we'll start actually.
Okay. Shall I share my slides, sir?
No. First, let me introduce. Good morning, friends. Welcome to the first session of the 4th day of Tripplum 2020. Today, the first speaker is Dr. Rajesh Madharkar. And let me introduce Dr. Rajesh. So Dr. Rajesh have done his bachelor's in production engineering from Nagpur University. His master's is in manufacturing science from IIT Kanpur, where he worked with Professor B.K. Jain in the area of magnetic abrasive deburring. And later he has worked for some time in Ramdev Baba College of Engineering and Management in Nagpur. And prior that one, he was working at IBM also. And Professor Rajesh Madarkar has done his PhD from IIT Delhi on ultrasonic grinding with Professor P.V. Rao and S. Ghosh. And he's a National Council member for the prestigious professional society, the Institution of Industrial Engineering, from 2012 to 2021. He had a All India rank of 22 in GATE and have published almost 15 research papers in international journals. And his area of interest is in grinding and machining. Currently, he was working with G.H. Raisoni Institute of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur, as an assistant professor. So, Dr. Rajesh, you have 1 hour, 15 minutes. And last 15 minutes, we will ask the audience for their queries. So, you can start it. So, you can share the screen and you can start. I'll stop my video and I'll mute it.
Okay. So thank you. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. T.V.K. Gupta sir for your introduction, for giving me this opportunity to present my work in front of such a learned audience. So, and I also would like to thank VNIT for this opportunity. So let me start. So I will just stop my video so that there should not be any bandwidth issues.
You can make full screen.
Yes, sir. So is it okay, sir, now?
Yeah, it's fine, fine. Visible also.
So am I audible and visible?
Both are there.
Okay. Okay, sir. So good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Rajesh Madarkar. As sir mentioned, I have done MTech from IIT Kanpur, where we have worked for magnetic abrasive deburring, and PhD from IIT Delhi, where we worked for ultrasonic assisted grinding. And today I will present my work which I had done at IIT Delhi during my PhD. So these are the outlines. So I will just shortly introduce about the grinding. Then we had developed experimental setups there, and I would like to give in-depth discussion for that. So we will discuss about the ultrasonic grinding setups. So I had basically developed two setups, one for providing ultrasonic vibration to workpiece, and another ultrasonic vibration assisted minimum quantity lubrication. So MQL is a very renowned technique, and we had further modified this by using this ultrasonic vibration. And then I have done some experimental studies. So we had evaluated this ultrasonic assisted grinding through some experimentation. So I will discuss that. Quick introduction about this grinding. So all of us know that grinding is a manufacturing process which is mostly used for surface finish operation. But with some exaggerated parameters and recent advances in grinding, we can also achieve a good material removal rate using this grinding. So when you talk about grinding, grinding, unlike other machining processes, have some typical grinding mechanism where it involves rubbing, shearing, and ploughing. So what happens during grinding? Initially, because this grinding is made up by hard abrasives which are randomly oriented in the grinding wheel. So unlike the metal cutting or single point cutting operations, where the tool having a specific geometry, in grinding these abrasives are randomly oriented. So when they interact with the workpiece, it's not like that. If a sharp grit only interact and it will do the shearing operation. So this involves rubbing, ploughing, and shearing. So first it will slide over the workpiece, then it will plough, it will move the material outwards, and then it do the shearing. And the material removal takes place only during the shearing operation. So because of this inherent mechanism, there is a lot of energy requirement for volume of material removal. And in all the conventional processes, the grinding has only the process which requires a lot of specific energy. So because of that, higher heat is generated. And because of this higher heat generation, high grinding zone temperature, it adversely affects your ground quality, ground product quality. And also it affects the wheel wear. So it will enhance the wheel wear. And the solution to that would be, we'll discuss that. But now, right now, we have want to discuss about this advanced materials. And when we talk about this grinding aspect of advanced materials, mostly because I had worked on titanium alloy Ti6L4V, also on pneumonic and Inconel alloys. So we have found that these alloys mostly have the low thermal conductivity, low volume specific heat, low modular elasticity, high strength, and high chemical affinity. And these properties make its grinding further difficult. Anyhow, in grinding, we could it generate a lot of temperature, but these properties will adversely affect it, like poor thermal conductivity will adversely affect the thermal effects. All these things were there. Also, welding of chips to the ground surface or grids, it will help. It will create surface integrity issues. Again, chemical reactive nature of these advanced materials, they will enhance the wheel loading, redeposition, and all these will result in the poor surface quality. And because of this, these materials, they are termed as difficult to grind. The solution to that would be the uses of coolant. So in grinding, we use a lot of coolants. So cutting oil, it will give cooling effect as well as lubrication effect, and it will reduce the heat generation, and it enhance the surface workpiece quality, wheel wear, and grinding force and power demand requirements will be lesser. It will help in that. But again, these coolants having the negative impact, because they are not good for the environment. They create environmental issues, and nowadays there are strict regulations for hazardous substance, because mostly the coolant there are the hazardous. So there are strict government regulations for use of these kind of materials. They not only affect the operator's health, the machine health, but also create environmental issues. And when we dispose these kind of fluids, so they create water pollution, soil pollution, etc. So because of these problems, so the researchers have developed new techniques, and nowadays new techniques are using so that we could cover the negative impacts of the high temperature generated and avoid the uses of coolant. So these includes MQL, minimum quantity lubrication, drag grinding, ultrasonic strip grinding. So this is how we come to these kind of techniques, which are helpful for enhancing the grindability aspect of any material. So today I will talk about this ultrasonic vibration assisted grinding. So this is comparatively a novel technique which is characterized by the superposition of conventional grinding operation with ultrasonic vibration. So this is typically the scheme of ultrasonic vibration assisted experiment setup, where we have this ultrasonic generator which converts the 50 Hz power supply to high electrical impulses. Then this transducer converts this electrical impulse to mechanical vibration. Then booster and sonotode or horn, they are actually enhancing this vibration, because this vibration generated is not sufficient for machining. And then we can provide vibration to the workpiece, and then we do the grinding. Similarly, we can provide vibration to the grinding wheel itself. And short minimum quantity lubrication. So we know that in minimum quantity lubrication, we use small cutting fluid and compress. With the help of compressed air, we make the aerosol, and we try to effectively impinge this short amount of cutting fluid into the grinding zone, so that we can avoid the negative impacts of the coolants and all these accessories required for recirculation of the fluid and all environmental impacts and everything. We can minimize by minimizing the uses of coolant, and at the same time get the enhanced grindability and effective utilization of this coolant. So minimum quantity lubrication is most of you must be knowing it is a very widely used techniques, and it has developed so far, but it also has some negative impacts, like fluid droplets, they are not uniform. Also they create some air in air, these particles they get spread. So there we thought that there is again a scope of improving this minimum quantity lubrication technique itself. So we'll discuss about that. So talking about these important elements of ultrasonic vibration system. So for any machining, whether it is ultrasonic turning, ultrasonic milling, or ultrasonic grinding, or whatever other methods, ultrasonic welding, other methods which involve ultrasonic vibration system. So these are the basic important elements of this system: the ultrasonic generator, piezoelectric transducer, booster, and horn. And means these generator can be purchased. These are commercially available. Transducer are commercially available. Boosters are commercially available. But this horn is a very important element, and we need to, because the way we effectively design the horn, because the horn is the only element which will be different for different operations. So same all these elements you can use for all the machining operations. Only horn you have to change, and we need a special attention for designing and manufacturing of this horn, because your machining characteristics or your effectiveness of machining or grinding will depend on how effectively you utilize the horn. Because if you do not design the horn properly, it will impact your machinability aspect, as well as it can damage, and it has damaged many times this complete ultrasonic systems. So we had very carefully developed these horns, and I have developed this technique, these simple methods by which we ensure that we could design the horn properly. So let's not go into that, but simply I will just quickly, because we develop this model and we do the model analysis, because we want to know whether this your model or your horn is having the same natural frequency as of your generator, because generator is commercially available. So normally 20 kilohertz generator are mostly used. So you have to ensure that the natural frequency of your horn should also be 20 kilohertz. And if it is there, then you have to check the dynamic responses your horn is giving while machining. So you have to check about whether your horn is giving amplitude variation, and the stresses developed in the horn are below the particular limit of this particular horn material. And if you are okay with that, then you fabricate the horn. And then before actually connecting your horn to your ultrasonic unit, you just want to check the frequency with the help of impedance analyzer or other methods. And once you are sure that your horn is correct, then only you attach it to your ultrasonic unit. Because if it is not correct, then it can hamper your ultrasonic system. So I had developed this horn, and these are some of the details about that. How you find out the length, and then once you get the length, then you make the CAD model out of that, and in ANSYS you do using FEM simulation, you do the analysis. So these are some of the results of that. That's like you can see this from model analysis. We could find out at what mode this give the frequency of what you want, because means whatever the generator you have. So I found that at 180, because with the help of this length, you will get some length, but that length won't give you that frequency practically. So then you have to change this, and you have to find out. And once you are getting that, then you do the harmonic response analysis, and then you find out whether the stresses developed are below the fatigue limit of the material, and you get the proper application. And this was this is the final workpiece assembly. So you see, this is the horn, and this is workpiece, and this is attached, because we want this is attached with the help of grub sprue, because we want a tight assembly. Because if it is not tight assembly, then the vibration transmission will be there, and there will be a lot of noise, and the heat generation will be very high. And then some work with this material. So mostly this material which are used for horn, they are steel, aluminum, or titanium. So mostly if it is a simple applications, means there are not high stresses generated, means you can easily use aluminum, because it is easily machinable and it is low cost. But these having some problems, means if for my application, I found that there are so many cracks used to develop, and because they are fastened using grub screw, so it gets loosened after some cycle. So then we have used the titanium, and we found that it is good. The only disadvantage it is high cost, because titanium is again difficult to machine. So that is the thing. So for a simple application, you can go for aluminum, and for complex application, you have to go for titanium workpiece. And this is some of the machining operations which utilize horns. So in turning, means this is the horn where you attach your cutting tool, insert, and these are the drilling operation where you have to, and during this you have to design the horn such that this, including this drill, it should be an one part, and this horn plus drill, it should have a natural frequency of 20 kilohertz. So that is very important. So this is in grinding, like what we did. So for us, our workpiece also was the integral part of the horn. So that is very important. Similarly for milling. So, and then you want to check whether this the developed horn having the frequency what you want. So this is what I have explained earlier. So this is a setup for impedance analyzer. It can give you the natural frequency meters are also available. Then accelerator combined with oscilloscope. So any facility you can use which is available with you to check whether your horn is having the natural frequency of your generator or not. Then for amplitude measurement, again, you can, with the help of some calculation, you use these things. And laser vibrometer, if you have, because in our place we had that facility, so you can use that. Or we have some researchers, they also use precision dial indicator for online on machine measurement. Then this was the setup which I had developed. So this is the ultrasonic generator, this is transducer. Then these are the horn we developed. This is our workpiece, and we have covered this with the help of this Teflon separator, because we do not want that vibration should transfer to the other machining elements. Then this is a develops. This is the setup. This is the 3-axis CNC surface grinding machine which we had in our lab at IIT Delhi. It was purchased from Taiwan Chevalier company, and this is 3-axis machine. So we have developed this setup, and we have installed this setup in this machine. And this is a grinding wheel. So this is a dynamometer which captures the forces, and this is a generator. So this is a generator which can be used for ultrasonic welding, ultrasonic machining, all kind of application. And this transfer, so only difference what I explained earlier is that this horn, how effectively you develop the horn. So for different application, your horn will be different. And these are some of the, this is a flood cooling setup. This is a setup for our minimum quantity lubrication. I will explain it further. So this is the setup you can see. This is a conventional MQL system. This conventional MQL setup we have developed, and we have done some experimentation with this, and we another ultrasonic vibration assisted minimum quantity lubrication also we have developed to compare like whether we are getting some improvement or not. And this is a dial indicator which is normally used in medical application to control the flow. So this was the indigenous setup which we had developed for conventional MQL at our lab. So this is a new thing which we have done. We have improved the MQL system with the help of ultrasonic vibration. So this is a schematic diagram. We have fluid reservoir where controlled flow rate, we pass the fluid on the vibratory horn, and this horn is vibrated with the help of ultrasonic generator. And with the help, and once this fluid comes in contact with this ultrasonic vibrating horn, the fluid particles, they get disintegrated into a number of fine particles, and then with the help of compressed air, we try to impinge into the grinding zone. So we get this mist. So what you had seen, this mist, we will get the mist of ultrasonically disintegrated cutting fluids. Similarly, so this is a horn. So as I told, the horn will be different for different applications. So this is a horn which we have developed using the same methodology what I have explained with the help of this analysis. So so you can see when there is no vibration, you can see these cutting fluid droplets coming out. And then once this is vibrated, so these cutting fluid droplets, they get disintegrated into a fine mist. So we have also studied this. So this one droplets is disintegrated into very fine droplets. So this way we can further minimize the cutting requirement of cutting fluid. So this is again a setup which I have developed to flow these disintegrated particles into the grinding zone. And this we have installed on our machine. So these are all elements which are there to effectively send these atomized particles for these mechanisms for adjustments. Then this is a machine again where we have installed our developed ultrasonic vibration state minimum quantity lubrication setup. So this is a mist you can see when we this generator is used to vibrate this horn, and this fluid which is flowing on this vibrating horn, and then with the help of compressed air at some pressure, this is impinged into the grinding zone. Then so these two setups we had developed, and then we have conducted some experimentations. So these are the details. I will skip this. These were some of the experimental conditions. We know that we need have some experimental conditions while studying. So these are some of the experimental conditions. So we can discuss in detail if anyone want. Then these are the design metrics. I just want to show you that we had used this central composite design because we had taken 3 levels and 3 factors, 5 levels. So if you go to the full factor, it will go to 625 experiments. But with the help of this CCD techniques, we could reduce our number of experimentations to 20. And we can very well study the effect of various factors on the responses. Then this is again a setup. For this experimentation. And these are some of the results I would like to share with you. So we have studied we have varied the cutting, grinding wheel speed, table speed, and depth of cut. And we studied the forces and surface roughness. Also, we have done some micrographic analysis for study the surface and the chips. So we have found that we have done this experimentation for same number of experimentation with same setup for 6 different conditions. So 3 for conventional dry, conventional MQL, and conventional weight. And again, we have done this with ultrasonic vibration state dry, weight, and MQL. And we have used the same setup, but during the conventional process, we have just switched off this generator. And during ultrasonic assisted, we have just switched on it. The other things remain same. So that with this system comes, so that get diluted. And then we have found that in conventional grinding, the counterpart of this conventional, the ultrasonic, we could reduce the forces. And these are the natural basic responses. With wheel speed, the forces reduces. With table speed, again, force increases, and depth of cut forces increases because these parameters affect the chip thickness and again the load on the grid. So these are with the basics of grinding. But we found that this ultrasonic with ultrasonic MQL, again we get the lowest forces. Because now what happens in ultrasonic assisted grinding, the workpiece gets vibrated, and what in conventional grinding and in ultrasonic grinding, the difference is the kinematics of the grinding process. So when in ultrasonic, when this workpiece is vibrated, so there is an intermediate contact between the workpiece and the wheel. So the load per grids will be lesser and it will facilitate the cutting. And again, the impact load because of this ultrasonic, it will help in fracturing of the grid. So there will be new cutting points generated during that, and it will help in retaining the sharpness of the grid, and it will help in easy penetration of the grid. So because of that, we get the less forces. So we could find that up to 36% we could reduce the forces as compared to the dry conventional grinding. Similarly, normal grinding forces also we could able to reduce up to 29%. Then these are the sample plots just I have put here to just explain how because this is a forces during the conventional dry grinding. So you can find these signals, they are very random and they get, means the forces is not constant, means because during the conventional grinding the grids become dull very fast, so the effect is random, and during the progression of grinding it increases. We could able to manage some good things in this MQL, but again there were some random forces but in case of ultrasonic with MQL we could find that the forces reduces and they are constant. It means that the grid sharpness is constant. It means the forces are constant. So it indicates the effectiveness of that particular process. In the specific energy requirement, which is a main issue in the grinding, so we could find that with the help of ultrasonic vibration state grinding, we could get this specific grinding energy lower. So am I going fast or it is okay, sir?
You can be little slow.
Yes, little bit slow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are up to 11 o'clock, no, sir?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Okay. Yeah, just okay, sir. Again, surface roughness we have studied, and then we found that we could reduce the reduce the average surface roughness by 30%. Again, I will explain this. Means these are these experimental results. So the help of micrographic analysis, it will be more clear, and you can see that thing. Now these are the ground surface morphology during conventional grinding. So these are the micrographic pictures for titanium alloy. So we know that titanium, they are very notorious alloy because they are having a very low thermal conductivity, and there is a, when you do machining, so there is a lot of problem of redeposition of material because this is actually basically a sticky material. So the chips, they tend to stick to the workpiece surface itself, and because of that they not only destroy the surface finish, but they also destroy the surface integrity of your product. So you can see this in conventional grinding. We could find some material getting redeposited because a lot of heat is generated and there is no way to get out this heat generation. And in weight, because we use a lot of coolant, so we could get some relief as far as the stickiness of this is concerned. And again, MQL we also get, but again there is some redeposition we still could not able to completely eliminate. But once we give the ultrasonic vibration, so because of this kinematics intermediate action of this ultrasonic vibration, so we could avoid this momentary contact of this grid and the workpiece effectively. So in conventional grinding, there will be a lot of momentary contact between this workpiece and the grid. But because of this ultrasonic vibration, this intermediate cutting action, so this workpiece and this grid, they remains in momentary contacts is reduced, and because of that, the moment they try to stick, it will not possible. So we could effectively reduce this redeposition, which you can easily figure out from this figure, and we could get redeposited material. They get eliminated. Again, you can see this sharp marks. So also indicate that in ultrasonic assisted grinding, the grit sharpness remains. And because of that, the problem of wheel wear also we can reduce. So that I will also explain in further slides. Then we have collected the chips on the carbon tape, and we have studied these chips generated after conventional grinding and ultrasonic vibration assisted grinding, and we studied under same, and we found that during conventional grinding, so these kind of chips were produced where you can easily see these materials get sticked on this, and also some rubbing or plowing marks. Rubbing marks you could easily identify. But in case of ultrasonic grinding, these chips we get long and flowing type of chips, and the chip thickness is also less. However, I have measured one thickness which is not shown here, but again from visual inspection we could find, and this shows the effectiveness and efficiency of the grinding process during this using this technique. Then this is a wheel topography. So this is pictures of the wheel after some cycle of grinding, same number of cycle of grinding, and we could tried to figure out what is the wear for this grid. So this you can see during conventional grinding, so a lot of wear flats you can find, and then on this wear flat you could see some material get stick. Now why this happens? Because during die grinding there is no possibility of heat removal. So these abrasive grids, they get dull very fast, and this produce this and these chips, they get again stick to the wheel surface, and then they try to increase the loading of the wheel. So wheel loading increases, and this wear flat, the sharpness of the grids, less sharp grids will be there, and it will further enhance, further affect this material removal rate, and then again the specific energy requirement will be high. And when we use some coolant, so we could get some relief, but still the wheel loading and chip adhesion problem is still there. However, it is not so exaggeratedly high as in case of dry. But when the same thing when we observe after doing this ultrasonic vibration assisted grinding, we could find that the sharpness of the grids retains. So this wear flat they get reduced, and we could find some sharp grids. Also, this wheel loading problem, with the help of coolant, they get reduced, and again with ultrasonic MQL we get some good result. And we have also done some NO analysis just to find out whether the our models, they are good at whether they represent these over machining things. So this is common. So this is just I have taken, and we could find we could find out the effective variables which having influence during different techniques. And we have developed some regression equations so that we could we could judge the forces without conducting these experiments under this particular levels. And this I will just skip because this is very common, and we could find that these models which we have developed, they can represent the process very well. So we can elaborate once if anyone wants that. Now this is very interesting. So here what we have done, this is the cutting fluid droplets obtained by ultrasonic atomization and conventional air assisted atomization. So now here we need to understand because MQL is widely used technique, it is very well accepted by industry and in the research domain. So it has eliminated just as I explained all the drawbacks which we could get because of the high uses of the coolants. And it is being even now with different forms, with using nanoparticles, with using different cutting fluid materials. It is still being widely used and giving good results. But we understand that when we use this conventional MQL, the disintegration or atomization of droplets happens because of the high pressure. So because of this high pressure, we use these droplets get sheared off, and because of this, we get the if we see the droplets, they are not non-uniform. Okay, and again, some researchers they have suggested that these non-uniform droplets, and because high pressure, they in the air they get aerosol and they are harmful for the operators because of they get spread to the other parts as well. And in case of ultrasonic, when we talk about this mechanism, so this in ultrasonic, because of this cavitation hypothesis, this cutting fluid droplets, because of the vibration disturbance due to vibration, they disintegrated from in droplets form. So they are very fine and uniform size droplets you could get. So when we studied those, collected those droplets and studied under stereoscopic microscope, so we could find out that these droplets are non-uniform, these are uniforms. So now what happens because of the non-uniform droplet, what are the drawbacks? So these droplets, we impinge into the grinding zone, and then because when they are non-uniform, so when we can see that these non-uniform droplets, they cannot go effectively into the grinding zone. Okay, but when they are uniform and their size is less, they can very well go to the grinding zone, and they can cover this cheap and they can cover the grit and workpiece gap, and even the microfracture on the abrasive grains, they can go and they can disperse uniformly over the surface. So they give the enhanced cooling performance, cooling and lubrication performance. So these are just so what we have done. We have just to find out the what is the pressure and the flow rate required. We have conducted some droplet analysis using ImageJ software. So what we have done, we have collected these droplets on this acrylic sheet, and with this help of ImageJ software, we tried to find out number of droplets and average diameter. And at different flow rate, we have taken these three flow rate based on this literature, and we found that at which flow rate and which pressure we get large number of droplets, and average droplets are less, and the percentage area covered by that droplets. So then we have selected this pressure. Now, similar in the case of conventional, it is very important that the pressure required is very high, up to like in the range of 8 bar. But in case of ultrasonic, we need the lesser pressure. Why? Because as I explained, in conventional MQL, the pressure is required to disintegrate or atomize these cutting fluid droplets. But in case of ultrasonic state minimum quantity lubrication, the pressure is required only to get those droplets into the grinding zone. So obviously they are lesser. So this we can save this requirement of the pressure in this way. And then I was also conducted some, because we want to make it further means environmentally friendly. So we have used this biodegradable cutting fluids with ultrasonic, so that we could get the high effect with less environmental impacts. So these are just experimentations we have conducted to identify which oil we should use, and we could find that the sunflower oil at 5% it will give good results. So this is just the experimentation conducted, find out this oil. After that, we have conducted some experimentations using these parameters. These were the experimental parameters. again, this is a design matrix. So again, this is a setup. So this you can see. Now the interesting part is here I would like to take some time because we have covered so many things. So the interesting part is once you make the setup, how to install that setup on your machine. So that is actually very challenging things what I had seen during my work. So because we have set, so if you can see this machine, you can see that what my task is to impinge these fine droplets into the grinding zone. So where this workpiece and this wheel interacts, and I want that it should be effective because it should be having uniform size, uniform shape, and it should cover maximum area, and the requirement of the cutting fluid should be lesser. So I have developed this particular setup. Now once I have got these droplets, fine droplets, mist of fine droplets of cutting fluid. Now how to impinge those droplets in your zone, in your grinding zone. So this was very challenging task because you can see this setup is relatively a bulky setup. Now because we have used the same generator and the same transducer. Earlier we had used it for ultrasonic vibration grinding, where we had used the same generator and transducer to provide vibration to our workpiece. Okay, we have vibrated our workpiece, and on that vibrating workpiece we did the grinding. All right, and now we have used same generator, same transducer, and now the application is different. The application of ultrasonic vibration is different. This time we have used this vibration to enhance the minimum quantity lubrication techniques, which is already very well developed techniques. All right. So whenever we so at the outside, means at the outside of this machine, we can very well do that. But once we have developed this and we got this atomized droplets, everything is fine. Now how to actually let these atomized droplets effectively go into the grinding zone, and simultaneously you can conduct your experimentations, because so that was very challenging task. So you can, because this question was because my external examiner was also very interested to know like how I place this thing, because this table is moving. This table is moving. So what we have done, we have taken this breeze kind of arrangement. So I had because we had developed this setup, we have tested it outside our machine. Everything was fine. Now the next challenging task was how to install this setup, because this is a 3-axis machine. This is compact machine. This door should be closed to operate this machine, and there is no space available to put this bulky setup, because normally you would see I'm going back just because I want to explain this practical aspect, because this was very challenging. And just a minute, sir, please allow me to go back. Yeah, you could see this is a conventional MQL, and this was hand. So this is our machine. So this bed was moving, and this is rotating stationary, and this is moving. Okay, and we could easily hang these system. This is conventional MQL system. So it will also be stationary, and it will not impact our setup. Everything is fine. But how to? So this is conventional. And when we develop this setup, now this is a bulky setup. We cannot hang it. Okay. And means we cannot keep it with moving table, because it will hit it. So I suddenly, so I was working on it, and one day I was studying, and I found that this study lamp, and suddenly I got to realize, okay, we could have this arrangement of study lamp, because we want these arrangement, so that we could get some angles, and we could move this setup to reach to the grinding zone, and we could have also some angles, because in MQL the angle of inclination is also very important. So normally it is 15 degree, which is suggested in literature for conventional MQL. So we want this angle, and we want this position, and we cannot hang it also. So from there I got this idea of, okay, like lamp we can have it. So what we have done, when this is moving, there are some space which remains stationary. So I have made this breeze and then this lamp kind of things to just get these droplets effectively go to the. So this is some one interesting thing what I wanted to share. Then again, we have conducted, as I explained, with the help of these techniques. This is very common. We have conducted some experimentations to find out whether our developed system of ultrasonic MQL is giving us good results or not. And we have tried to see that with the help of responses. Our responses are forces and roughness, and with some micrographic analysis. So again, we found that during all these things, our ultrasonic MQL give lesser cutting force, lesser grinding forces. The reason remains that during conventional grinding, because these non-uniform droplets, they cannot effectively go to the grinding zone. They provide the lubrication, but that lubrication we can enhance when we have fine and uniform size droplets, because they can also go to the microfractures happening during grinding to this, and they can even lubricate and cool this microfracture area, and also because they are smaller in size, they can spread to the grinding zone very well. They cover the maximum surface area for cooling. So with the same amount of coolant, they give the effective cooling and lubrication. And once it gives good lubrication, so the sliding of these grids will be easier, and it will result in the lower tangential force. And again, these tangential force, they take a major part in the specific energy requirement. So because of that, again, the specific energy requirement for grinding will be lesser. So we get these advantages because of this uniform size cutting fluid droplets. So we could able to reduce the cutting force around 25% with this conventional MQL. So again, this MQL is a very effective technique, and we could able to even further modify or improve that thing. Similarly, normal grinding forces, these normal grinding forces, they are actually the required for penetrating your grid onto the workpiece, and they decide the plastic deformation mechanism of this grinding aspect. And because if we could able to reduce the normal forces, we could able to prevent the surface integrity of the our product. And the same because we good lubrication, so grid sharpness, we could provide the proper cooling and lubrication effect. So grid sharpness will be higher. It means the grids can retain their sharpness for longer period of time, and they can facilitate the easy penetration into their workpiece. And this way we can reduce the normal grinding forces. For surface roughness part also, we have seen, just a minute. So after grinding on the central run, so all these micrographic analysis or the qualitative analysis we have done on the center run. So After that, we have measured the surface roughness with the help of this Telesur profilometer in our metrology lab. And we could find that the average surface roughness is lesser in case of ultrasonic vibration state minimum quantity lubrication. And when we see this profile, so this is a profile we obtained during conventional MQL, and this is a profile we can obtain. So you can see that the peaks and valleys, they are mostly uniform. So it shows that the grinding is uniform because we could retain the sharpness of the grid. So mostly the the sharp grids, they took part in the grinding operation, and they could generate a profile which is a uniform profile. Then we have studied this ground product surface under same, and we could find that means this is the same material type Ti6L4V. So you could find that in conventional MQL also means you will get a proper surface because this MQL again is a very effective technique. So there is nothing much wrong about it. So it will give, but again, if you try to improve that, the help of ultrasonic MQL, you could see the improvement. So in MQL, still you could have some redeposit material and some flowing mass you could see, but in case of ultrasonic MQL, so you could see the sharp grip marks and this uniform surface. So now this is the chips which we have collected after conventional MQL grinding and after ultrasonic MQL grinding, and we studied under same. So these chips we have collected on this carbon tape, and you will find that we get a flowing up chips. So it will show the effectiveness of the grinding. But still in MQL, it shows the limitations of your lubrication and cooling effect. So, but in case of ultrasonic MQL, you could find that very sharp grit marks and the chips which is not having any materials adhered to it. So this study will show the effectiveness of this UMQL. So I have come to the conclusion part, but I will go back to these set of things and we'll try to see that. So we have concluded that in our study, we have basically developed these indigenous setups, and these indigenous setups have been developed to use this ultrasonic vibration effect of this ultrasonic vibration for grinding and for enhancing the MQL technique. So in grinding, what we have done, we have developed a setup. First we have developed this horn, and we could able to vibrate this workpiece to this 20 kilohertz frequency with the help of indigenously developed horns. And then we have developed this setup so that this vibratory horn should be effectively put under this. This vibratory workpiece is effectively put under this wheel, where we can do the grinding on that vibratory workpiece, and at the same time we can take the forces, and we could able to do this grinding on that compact machine, 3-axis CNC surface grinding machine, which we have in our lab, and then providing the vibration and making this vibratory workpiece getting grinded. So that setups we have indigenously developed, and we have done many iterations. Sometimes there were problems for vibration of the workpiece, sometimes problems with the horn. The horn were getting failed so frequently, they could not able to get that vibration. After that, putting that vibratory thing onto that machine is again very challenging task, because you have seen how compact that machine is. So that was a a challenging thing. And again, we could think about the medium quantity lubrication, how we can improve this by using the ultrasonic vibration. So our task was using ultrasonic vibration, how we can enhance the grindability aspect by providing vibration to the grind workpiece, and at the same time, whether we can already also also improve the existing technique of minimum quantity lubrication. And we have thought about that. Then we have developed horn accordingly. Then after developing the horn, we have tested whether these horns are working. And for MQL, after getting these droplets disintegrated or atomized using ultrasonic vibration, now to collect those droplets and these atomized droplets to send these atomized droplets to the grinding zone or to the machining zone. Again, we needed some setups where we can use the air, and we could collect these atomized droplets at one place, and these collected droplets we will impinge into the grinding zone or machining zone if you are doing machining, and before they get reunited. So that was again a task to also explain. And then after grinding, after machining, after grinding or after experimentation, we found that we got lower tangential normal forces obtained as compared to conventional grinding under all these techniques, dry, wet, and MQL environment, due to the improved cutting mechanism by ultrasonic vibration combined with the other cooling and lubrication technique. So we got this mixing of these two techniques. So we got the hybrid technique, which where we can take the advantages of conventional things like MQL. In conventional grinding or machining, MQL happens to be a good technique which gives enhanced results. And then this technique we have combined with this ultrasonic technique again, which is a hybrid technique. So the combination of two hybrid techniques, so that we get the synergistic effect of both the MQL as well as the ultrasonic. Then the surface roughness has been significantly improved using ultrasonic vibration grinding. The same micrographs of the ground surface obtained in the UAG shows improved surface quality by reducing the problem of cheap adhesion and material redeposition, because this cheap adhesion and material deposition is a major issue with these advanced materials, because these advanced materials, they are utilized in high-end applications, in aerospace, in biomedical. So their surface quality and surface integrity should be very high, and these are the sticky materials. So whatever machining techniques you use, they have these kind of problems. So we could able to eliminate these problems of these advanced materials. Also, the study on the chip morphology established the better capability of UAG in improving the grinding performance of the alloy. Then the ultrasonic vibration state grinding with different grinding movements helped to reduce the wheel loading and cheap adhesion over grids and preserve the grid sharpness of the wheel for a longer time. So again, this is very important issue, or this is very important issue with this grinding of advanced materials, because they make your wheel get loaded very fast and get dull very fast. So if your wheel get dull very fast, you need to do the dressing operation so frequently. And once you do the dressing operation frequently, you will you will not only lose your production time, but also this wheel wear will be higher. So you will lose your tool basically. So in conventional grinding, it is okay. For conventional wheels, it is okay. But for if you do it for super abrasive wheel, so again for super abrasive wheel, like as we know that it is made of diamond or CBN. So again, they are dressing. This is not very easy task. And again, we cannot afford much of the wheel wear in case of super abrasive wheels. So these techniques help us to save our tool cost. So not only tool cost, the production cost. Because again, this dressing, the operation which we perform during dressing is considered under unproductive operation. But again, it is important because if you keep on doing the grinding with dull or loaded wheel, you will lose your surface integrity aspects. So this is again very important aspects. These techniques has looked on and gives the improvement in that particular issue. Then lastly, the application of UM ultrasonic vibration assisted minimum quantity lubrication grinding produces fine droplets of uniform shape. So these fine droplets, not only fine, they are uniform shape, so that they can help in better utilization of cutting fluid and they also result in lower cutting forces. So why we have actually moved to the MQL technique, because we know that in grinding lot of heat is generated and we have to use the cutting fluid. So without cutting fluid we cannot imagine the grinding operation, because lot of heat is generated, and unlike in machining operation, if we talk about the metal cutting, there the size of chips is in mm size, means large quantity of chips they are produced, and they are taking maximum of the heat produced during your machining operation. But in case of grinding, you see the chip size is very in microns. So the share of heat taken away from this grinding zone for that particular chips, there it is negligible. Again, if you talk about the advanced material, because they are low thermal conductivity material, so again the share of the heat which is taken away is lesser for that material. In fact, it gets accumulated those materials and it will lose your surface integrity part. So we have used a lot of coolant, but again we seen that the coolant because of this negative impact of the coolant, we come to MQL technique, where with the help of minimum quantity of lubricant we could achieve that cooling and lubrication effect. But again, for MQL we have find that it is non-uniform and it will not give this particular result. So we have improved that with the help of ultrasonic vibration. We try to again minimize the uses of cutting fluid. So the MQL technique is further improved for better utilization of cutting fluid, so that again the requirement of cutting fluid could be minimized, so that we could able to do it. So I have finished. So I have finished 5 minutes before, sir. So thank you. And now I would like to have some questions.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. Okay. People will start writing questions in the chat box, Rajesh.
Okay, sir.
Some candidates are asking, your work is very interesting. Have you compared the UVAG with conventional grinding with respect to setup cost and operational cost?
Yes, sir. Setup cost, and so just I would like to go to any setup, sir. So here you can see that if you talk about setup cost, so only, sir, we need an ultrasonic generator which comes around 2 lakh of 2 lakhs. And again, if you take the conventional MQL setups, that have some cost, but of course this cost is a little bit in the higher side, but we could save the pressure requirement. However, I have not compared the cost aspect, like what is the cost required in conventional MQL and ultrasonic MQL. But yeah, we could, with the help of the results which we obtained, we can say this is cost effective only. However, there is some investment required just to purchase this generator and for development of this horn. So other things, they are in fact for this particular thing we have only purchased generator, and this thing we have developed in our lab itself. So it is in that way, sir, it is not very cost, costing aspect may not be there if you see the result part. But yeah, you need some costing for this purchase of this generator.
Okay. There is one more question.
Yes, sir.
Were you able to calculate the overall improvement in the efficiency of the system as compared to the conventional system?
Yes, efficiency of the system, yes, sir. That we try to figure out with the help of these responses and microscopic analysis. So in that way, we say that it is effective.
Okay. So other one is asking, could you please explain the fabrication of UMQL?
Yes, sir. Fabrication of UMQL. So I will go back to this because this is very interesting actually, and I took a lot of time to do this. So I will go from this. So as I explained, and this actually when you actually make your horn, you will find that making horn is very difficult task, because if you do not make the horn properly, it will destroy your generator. So we could develop these simple methods. So if you follow these simple methods, so you will definitely get a closer, means iteration will be lesser. And I will go to the fabrication part, which is asked. So first thing is you have to develop the horn using the same methodology which I have explained. Because you cannot just develop and put it in your generator and then check, because if it is not developed properly, then it will destroy your generator. So first you have to do analysis, and this analysis is closer analysis. This is not the exact, but fortunately because this shape is very simple, so your analysis mostly convert in actual things. So what happens, sir? We do analysis and we get one result, but when we manufacture the component as per that analysis, it is not that we will get the exact result what we used to get in the analysis part, because of some material properties, because difference in some material properties and some constants we assume during analysis at the back end this ANSYS software use. But if your shape is simple, like in this case, so mostly your analysis will give you exact result for your manufactured component. So we have followed that. We have made this horn. Now you can see this. We have made this hole in the horn from where this cutting fluid will go. And once, so this is a picture. Actually, I had a video which could not be played, so I have taken this picture from that video. So when there is no vibration, your cutting fluid will keep on going droplet by droplet. The moment you provide vibration, it will be disintegrated, atomized into number of fine droplets. Now the another task is, now okay, I have got these droplets. Now what to do with these droplets? So how to impinge into the grinding zone? Okay, so I need these setups. So you can see, so this is a vibratory horn, and this fluid is coming and flowing into this vibratory horn, and it is getting disintegrated into this thing. So this is our nozzle. This is made by this is simple plastics. Okay, so now these disintegrated droplets, they are collected here. Okay, now that is fine. Now how to impinge into the zone? So I need a pressure. So then what I did, I have used this pipe. Okay, so where here after this disintegrated atomized droplets, they are collected here, and with the help of this air. So now in this ring, I have made 4 holes of 2 mm size, and this will send the air. So this will only assist the atomized droplets to go into the zone. Unlike in case of conventional MQL, where this air is actually shearing the cutting fluid droplets, and they are atomizing the cutting fluid with the help of shearing by this high pressure air in the range of 8 bar. But now in my case, I could easily get those droplets go at the pressure of 4 bar only. And then these are simple arrangements to lower down this setup, to move this setup. And then I had told you that lamp wali story, where I could get this idea by studying under this lamp, that okay, that way I can put. And you can see I have used this bridge so that the table can easily move from below this bridge and it will not hit it. Because these setups, it is very difficult to hang on this thing. So I can imagine that most of the time even sir might agree with me that we make the setup, but installing the setup and make its effective use is again a very tedious task. So that is the thing, sir. So I hope you answered. I answered.
I would definitely agree. Actually, getting the setup is one issue, fabrication is one more issue, and making it
Yes,
to
sir.
work is also a big issue. Actually.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And the second part is that you don't know where you will get stuck, because if today in the morning I plan, okay, now I'll conduct my experimentations, and by the end of the day I will have something for analysis, and I book my slot for analysis, and I found that some element, this horn is not vibrating, or something happens with this generator, it is not. Again, second thing I forgot to tell, there is a knob by which you can in change the power intensity, and you can vary the amplitude of vibration. But for a specific generator, the variation of frequency is not possible, because I have seen and I tried to find out the frequency. I could not find out the generator which can vary the frequency as well. Mostly for a specific frequency, you have only one generator, but amplitude you can vary, because there you by changing the power settings. Yes, sir.
And the other thing which I want to ask, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Please, sir. I'll be happy to answer.
This horn which you have fabricated now, how much each horn costs?
Yes, sir. It cost actually, sir. For me, we have developed this horn in our lab itself. But when you purchase it, so the same horn will cost, if it is titanium horn, it will cost around 60,000 rupees.
Oh,
Like
60,000.
you wonder why it is 60,000.
Okay.
But the thing is that, sir, just as I told you here, so suppose if you increase the length, suppose if your length is 180, you are getting 20 hertz. Okay. So suppose it is, you made it instead of 180, you made it say 170. Okay. So then in 170, you have made it 170, but you cannot now increase it to 180. So that part goes lost. So that horn, that complete material get lost. Then you have to another. So that's why people, what we do means, if we understand, like in this case, we understood that 180 it is giving 20 hertz. So we will start making, first we make 190 mm, because we can reduce the length, but we can increase the length. So we make it 190, and then we test it. Test it means using this. So this is an impedance analyzer, sir, where you can actually, without connecting this horn to your generator, you can test the frequency. And if you find that, okay, no, this is not giving the 20 kilohertz, so anyhow I cannot connect it to my generator, so you make it lesser length, means as per the calculations. So
No, 20 kilohertz is what? You're talking about the natural frequency?
natural frequency, it should be 20 kilohertz, because my generator is 20 kilohertz.
20 kilohertz, okay.
So if this length gets disturbed, so complete component goes wasted. So that's why they charge more,
Okay.
because this is trial and error actually, sir. Means till this point with the analysis you can reach to one point, but not the exact thing. A lot of trial analysis is required actually. Means in academics we cannot say that thing, but because I have done it in the industry itself. I went there and I have made these horns in their workshop before I made it in my lab, so I could see. So see, this is one example where with the help of frequency meter they check, and then after complete when they satisfied, then they connect to generator. Because sir, if you suppose this natural frequency of this horn is 21 kilohertz, 22 kilohertz, and you are connecting it to 20 kilohertz generator, so what it will do, it will hamper your generator. Then you have to repeat the generator again. So this trial and error makes the cost higher, because I have seen there that for simple horns they used to charge many rupees, and I would wondered then when I actually made it, then we realized, and you can see this horn we have made in our lab, but this was the fourth horn we actually made, and we could tune it, and we could do it because we used to have this rod available from our turning guys, which were doing metal cutting work, because after some diameter, no sir, that material is not useful, so we we used to get it. So in that way, but that is the cost aspect, sir.
There is one more question.
Yes, sir.
So, can we use this for titanium composites?
Titanium
That's what
composites
somebody has asked.
means titanium composites means what? For what operation?
Yeah, Dr. Selvakumar has asked actually. What he is trying to ask is that you can see the chat box actually.
Yes, let me see.
Sample size, he
Can
asked.
we use this for titanium composites? Means what exactly,
Let
sir?
me unmute. Let him ask actually if you want.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have unmuted. If you want, you can ask Dr. Selvakumar. You can unmute by yourself.
Mike, okay, no, sir. Sir, just I want to tell, means titanium composite means you want to make the horn of titanium composite or what? Or you want to machine titanium composite?
I think he want to machine titanium composite.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what
sir. In fact, yeah, yeah. In fact, sir, for composite, I have learned in composite, these ultrasonic techniques gives good results for composite, because there is an intermittent action, so it should help the machining.
Okay.
Hello, Kumar sir.
No, good morning, sir.
Able to hear?
Yeah, you're
Yes,
audible.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please tell me this.
I am trying to come with that I can able to machine the titanium composites. What I'm trying to ask.
Machine means you want to do turning or grinding or what, sir?
Sir, grinding.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely. In fact, these techniques, it is developed for advanced material only, because advanced material having they are notorious for machining and grinding. So these intermittent action and these kinematics, the change kinematics, they help in overcome these issues. Like as I have explained earlier, also these with these advanced, because this titanium composite also comes in this category, so they are very notorious because of because these properties are common in these advanced materials, and that's they are difficult to grind, and using these techniques
Yes,
we can
difficult
do
to
that.
grind.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. I agreed. It's difficult to grind since I'm doing work in the titanium boride. Also, it's going to be a brittle one. Can you
Yes,
whether
sir.
it is a for this kind of technique, sir?
In fact, sir, for brittle it will even further give better results for brittle materials.
Oh,
For brittle materials, even it will give, because it will help in microfracturing. So for brittle, it will again give good results, sir. So you just try it with you. You can try it with this, and you just try to just find out the literature first, and then you go, because the setup making is very tedious task, sir. Because I was completely lost in that. So I thought what happened, but fortunately, I could get these facilities, and I could go along with that. And after completion, I thought, okay, now it's done.
okay. Can we get a helping hand from your side, sir, for doing this kind of?
Definitely, sir. I have given my contact details. Please note it down. Or
I will be sharing your email ID.
I'll be happy to help you out, sir. Yeah. So you can contact me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There is one more query, Dr. Rajesh.
Yes, sir.
He is asking application of this technique, where it is used.
Application is for machining, means for machining, for grinding, and for ultrasonic welding.
Okay.
Application of application of ultrasonic vibration is in machining, grinding, means in welding, and in so many operations nowadays. This ultrasonic vibration. The good part is once you have this generator, you can use it in number of different area, because as I told you, only horn will be the part which you need to manufacture.
Okay.
And for different applications, you just change your horns, and the same generator you can use it. How to use in milling? Yeah. Just a minute. I will go to that figure. Milling, what you have to do, sir? You have to develop this horn where after fitting your milling cutter, it should have been resonance with your generator. So, means like in my case, I have considered this workpiece as also integral part of this horn. So, in your case for milling, you have to consider this milling cutter as integral part of this horn, and you have to design the tool holder. Actually, this call it. Actually, you have to design such a way that it goes in resonance with your generator, either 40 kilohertz, 28 kilohertz, or 20 kilohertz. So most common is 20 kilohertz generator. So in fact, you can get a lot many papers for that.
Yeah, people have done for milling. I have seen.
Yes, sir. Milling, it is possible. Yes, vibrate, it is possible.
There is one more question. Dr. Salvakumar is asking, what is the sample size? Means what is the specimen size? That's what I think he is asking.
Specimen size, yes, sir. Specimen size again for workpiece. Yeah. So you can see, sir, this is my specimen size for workpiece. It is 40-32 and the width is 12. Now, how it has come? It is not randomly it has come. Now, why width is, because my width of the wheel was 14 mm. So I had to take it less than 14. So I had kept it 12. Then these dimensions they have obtained because I want to fit on my machine. So I need some length for grinding as well. And I need some height as well, because if it is very less height, then it will impact to the setup. So all these constraints were there. Based on that, first I selected my sample size, and based on this sample, I have designed this horn, because you can see in analysis part, this workpiece is the integral part of this horn. So based on your machine constraint, you have to select, sir.
I hope it is clear, no, Dr. Salvakumar?
Thank you.
You have to select like how much length you want to grind, because this length depends on root LD, because contact length, it should be more than the contact length. So normally contact length for say 200 mm diameter wheel is 1.5. So this length should be more than 1.5 mm. But if you keep 1.5, you cannot keep it on your this thing, hold it. So you have to have some length so that you can have some grinding done on this. And length, height depend on whether it should not stuck to your setups, and width depend on the wheel width, because you want to grind all the part in one go. But if you want to shift your this thing and multi-pass grinding if you want, then width is not an issue. So basically it is based on your constraint actually with the machining.
Okay, thank you. Any other queries? Okay. If you don't have any query, then we'll thank the speaker. Thank you,
yeah. So shall I stop sharing, sir?
Yeah, you can stop sharing it.
Okay. So thank you very much, sir, for this opportunity. I'm extremely happy. And if the participant need further details, I will
be sharing your email ID with them, so
yes,
they
sir.
can.
So they can.
Something is required actually.
Yes, sir. So they can refer my papers and they can directly contact me. I'll be more than happy to help you out.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'll stop this session, Dr. Rajesh. Thank you once again.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.
So participants, I am going to, you can quit Dr. Rajesh.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I'll thank you everyone, and we'll be meeting again at 11:30, 11:25. Let us gather, and that session will be on farming process of and also the characterization, which is by Dr. Rajesh Thakurkar. And I will be sharing all the details of the speakers separately. Actually, through email, I will be sending it. Email ID and their designation, everything. Phone numbers they told me not to share. I will not share it, but at least the email IDs they will be responding. Okay, then. Thank you. I'll stop the session.